Hello, and welcome to The Lucky Goblin, and I'm Bordle, the Goblin.
And I'm James, the Lucky Wizard. This is our first video, but hopefully not our last. There will be more to come.
And we're playing The Pale Beyond.
The Pale Beyond is a game I quite enjoy. It is a narrative-driven survival story. You make difficult choices, and there's a little bit of resource management, not too dissimilar to one of my other favourite games, Frostpunk. And the story itself is quite reminiscent of The Terror, and I believe it was inspired by other Arctic survival stories as well.
And you've played this before quite a few times.
Yes.
But I'm going into this completely blind.
Yes.
I'm familiar with The Terror, but I know that this is very different, but I don't know anything more.
A little bit. It's the same premise. Ships
Okay.
go into ice bad. So the way we're going to be playing this is Bordle's going to be making all of the narrative decisions.
Yeah.
So you're the captain. You'll be making the choices, and I'll be in charge of the resource management, just to make a bit of a smoother experience for yourself.
Yes. Otherwise, we may die.
Yes. Well, we might die anyway. To be fair. Now let's start up a new expedition. And we're going to be playing on classic mode. So I have played a few times, but I haven't played since since the new difficulties were added and the new epilogues. So I'm quite looking forward to the new epilogues. So that's stuff that I won't be seeing. And we are going to be voicing the characters as we play.
Yes.
I've divvied them up into a cast list, which I shall prepare for us. But without further ado, let us start our new expedition into the Pale Beyond. Okay, so you can start as the narrator if you like.
Oh, the air be's cold.
The air be's gold.
A flake and white, as a sailor begs their pledge. That in the dark they'll brace themselves for horrors still ahead. To the souls around them shielding fear, dividing up their dread. A hunger draws the desperate here. Ooh. It's one that can't be fed.
That's a good one.
What will ye do when steel hearts break and courage does abscond? I learn to live a life out here, out in the Pale Beyond.
Ooh, you said it.
I worry I've just sealed our entire fate there.
Begin your journey.
Begin your journey. Oh no.
So we'll be swapping back and forth as the narrator, but Sarah's Ball is going to be doing Shaw, the main character. Crew wanted. Able-bodied crew wanted for dangerous expedition. Months of darkness, low wages, slim chance of safe return. Glory to be had in the event of success. Lovely. I'll start. You're alone in the office. The tea in your hand has long since gone cold.
I'd rather coffee.
Of course you would. Looking around the room, you can make out a collection of military books. On the desk is a ship in a bottle. A metronome ticks away steadily.
It's insufferable. The constant chime begins to wear at the patience. Leave it alone.
It stops. You hear footsteps climbing the stairs that brought you here.
Remain standing.
The door behind you swings open. The captain bounds past you to the other side of the desk. Do you have all your teeth?
Sorry?
Answer the question, please.
Open mouth.
You bare your teeth to the man. Good. Scurvy can never be too careful. The captain sits down. It's the little things you can lose people to.
I've not had scurvy before.
that's what you're asking.
There's more things to worry about than just scurvy. How many people have died under your supervision?
None.
Meaning you're either perfect for the job, a liar, or you've never been in command. Which is it?
If I was a liar, would I be in this room?
Please, take a seat.
Thank you.
The chair is uncomfortably large. The seat feels warm. I'm Captain Hunt.
Pleasure is mine, Robin Shaw.
He nods.
So what's the job then?
I have a few questions first. He looks down at his list of questions. Were you born a landlubber or a sea dog? So this is kind of like an origin. The one you pick has like unique dialogue options depending on your background.
The ocean, same as yourself.
Salt-born.
I'm salt born and bred.
Military experience? Same thing.
Sailed the merchant lines 12 years.
Very good. What did you trade in?
Fruit, mostly.
Fruit. Honest work. Have you ever fired a weapon?
Yes.
Have you ever killed a man, directly or otherwise?
Yes.
I see. You're not married, are you?
That's irrelevant.
Exploration is a dangerous profession. You must understand the risk you're putting yourself in.
I won't be missed. Let's leave it at that.
You better not have a death wish. One must believe they'll return to justify leaving any family in the first place. Yours is counting on that, whatever the circumstances. Months of darkness, low wages, slim chance of safe return. That didn't deter you, did it?
It's to be expected, surely.
I thought it blunt, but it's proven remarkable at weeding out the weak and the pretend.
Continue.
What? We're here to find the ship and that bottle.
It's right there.
Yeah, it is. Found it already. Easy. The Viscount. Heard of it?
No. Enlighten me.
He clears his throat. 5 years ago, she set sail on a research expedition towards the Dead Peninsula. They were trying to find and study the absolute magnetic south. Must be around here somewhere.
Did they?
Did they what?
Did they find it? Magnetic south?
I've no idea. She never came back. Her last known location was 200 miles south of land, presumed lost to the ice.
5 years is a bit late for a rescue operation. They're probably dead.
Alive or not, their research is supposedly of extreme importance.
Alright, you have my attention.
The captain smiles. Here's what we do know. Not one person or thing has been heard from the Viscount since it first left port.
They're definitely all dead.
Maybe so, but we're just after the ship itself. Those with more money than sense want that old ship. That's the job. If I don't pick the first mate, somebody else will, and, well, my judge of character's gotten me this far.
What of our crew?
Quite the mix, a work in progress. Some I've known for years. They get in on trust and experience. Others, well, they interview.
Any impressed you?
Yeah, that remains to be seen. We do have transport, though. We'll be travelling on board the Temperance. She's a beauty. Greenwood. Generational. Not many like it left these days. The Viscount and the Temperance. They're sister ships. Built together. Sent out into this world to die alone.
Poetic.
Indeed. I like to think one calls out for the other. The captain looks at the bottled ship. So, what do you think?
Sounds like you'll need all the help you can get.
We will. The captain checks his watch. Anyway, I think I've heard enough. The captain stands up. We leave in a month. Welcome aboard, Shaw. Proverbially speaking.
So I have the job?
What do you think? I'll see you on the Temperance. I have a good feeling about you, Shaw.
The feeling's mutual.
Captain makes his way to the door, and you follow. Do you want to start? No, you want to do this.
You arrive at the docks a month to the day. Before you lies a ship. The letters on its side read Temperance. You walk the cobble to the boarding ramp. Beside is a sharply dressed man overseeing the load of cargo. He turns to you with a stern expression. You can feel his eyes assessing you.
This is Richard Templeton. He's quick to inspect you for ink.
Another sailor for the fold. Middeck with the others. I'm Robin Shaw. Oh, of course. That would make you the captain's choice of first mate, correct? Mr. Templeton. I shall be operating as the chief science officer on this expedition. I'm also the incumbent representative of our benefactor. Do, however, consider myself and my team at you and the captain's disposal. What did you specialize in? Applied botany. That's reassuring.
He nods.
No doubt I needn't inform you of your duties. You're second only to Captain Hunt himself. Though I must warn you that you have quite the task ahead. The rabble I've spent the afternoon sorting are the same that you'll have to whip into shape. Punctuality, schedule, a strict adherence is what we need if this expedition is to succeed. I expect you to be the organized sort. You would not have been assigned the role otherwise. I doubt there will be much issue. We can only hope. But your role is more strenuous than it would first seem. Let me know when you're ready to depart. I'm certain you're eager to be back on the ocean. The less valuable time we waste here, the better.
Cool. So up here we've got our temperature and how much daylight we have. So right now we're still in the normal length, so we've got equal amounts day and night, and then this is dusk and dawn and dusk. And then you can see we've got different things we can look at before we leave. Anything you want to look at? Got
A young man.
a young man. Do you want to read?
A young man stands at the ramp, steeling himself for the journey ahead. Hesitantly, he begins to drag his feet up the ramp and onto the ship.
And we've got the city and the Temperance.
The city? You'll be gone for quite a while. It will be some time before you see the city again. Oh. You're not allowed to go to the city. No. Hunt's description of the ship was accurate. Near identical to the Viscount, barring some modern additions.
Like this giant chimney.
Steam power!
Ready to set sail?
Let's set sail.
Embark upon our expedition.
To find the totally dead ship.
Yeah. This is just like the Terror. Like
They're all dead, Dave.
week 1.
This-
Week on the Temperance.
This is like the Terror if the Terror and the Franklin weren't together.
Yeah. Was it the Franklin? I thought it was the Erebus.
The Erebus. Sorry, Franklin was the captain.
Yes. Which one are we, the Terror or the Erebus?
It was the Franklin expedition because he was the captain.
Yes.
But yes. Excuse me. It's been a month.
Yeah, first meant short personal log.
It's been 1 month since I signed on, and 1 week since I was set sail aboard the Temperance. I'm told the waters will get warmer as we pass the hemisphere, before they turn colder. The Temperance. I've never been on a ship like this before. It's seaworthy. A sturdy ship. Hard to imagine how many crews she's mothered before us. Repurposed incessantly. The roaring machinery should see this old steward of the sea through the ice. And us with it. Who's paying for this? I can't help but wonder who's footing the bill. Certainly not the captain. Such modifications to the ship mustn't have come cheap. It's none of my business. But the question still lingers in my mind. As for its master, he's mostly kept to his quarters so far.
Oh, what do we think of the captain?
I trust the captain. He seems a trustworthy sort. Experience alone justifies his position. There aren't many who make out on the other end of naval military service with all their limbs, let alone his vigour. He's not telling the whole truth. Still can't shake the feeling he's not telling the whole truth. I mustn't let my guard down. Enigmatic indeed. As for the rest of the crew, there are now 22 of us, including the captain. Our next port will be our last before we enter the ice, to pick up the remaining 4 members of the crew, the scouting team. Hunt is also keen to work out a deal on a pack of sledding dogs. I've sailed with worse. We come across all kinds trading with merchants, but rarely this split.
One of Hunt's sailors approaches. Joe. Captain wants you at the helm.
Good, I want to see him.
He leaves. So here we are aboard the Temperance, the captain's cabin, the forecastle, which is, I think, where we are. Got the crow's nest, and then the captain. Where would you like to go?
Let's go to the captain first.
You ascend the stairs to the stern and find the old captain manning the helm of the ship. Ah, Robin. Lovely day for it, isn't it?
It is indeed, Captain.
Indeed. It's days like these I make sure to do my share of the sailing. He winks.
Why?
Can't afford to go rusty in my old age. Never know when you're going to have to get your hands dirty. He thinks for a moment, before stepping aside and stretching out a wrinkled hand. Did you ever take the helm in the Merchant Navy? Or were you stuck carrying crates? Here, why don't you have a try?
I take the wheel.
You grip the wheel of the ship and feel the weight of the waves in your arms. Use this to pan around. The memory in your muscles rear themselves as you begin to move in time with the ship and the wind. Easy. There, you have it. The captain pats you on the back. Fantastic. Now try to get a sense of where we are. It's a perspective. So if we zoom right out. Peaceful,
Whoa.
isn't it?
How far does it go out?
This is as far as we'll go. For now. He takes the wheel back from you. I think I'll drink the morning in a little longer. Would you mind preparing my quarters for the day's work? There's much to do. So yeah, zoom right out. Pan around. Mostly right now it's just the ocean. We'll come into play a bit later on when there's more to explore. Where to?
Can we go to the crow's nest?
Have a look. It currently stands unoccupied. The scouting team are expected to join it next port. And there's the forecastle and the captain's cabin.
Let's look at the forecastle.
It appears to be locked. For now.
And the captain's quarters.
Captain's quarters. Trying to look at anything.
Cozy.
The painting.
Let's look at
a
his
tub.
bath.
Tub. A pristine furnished tub secured to the floor. A luxury to be had on the ice. Got the desk, a painting, and take requests.
I wonder if he rinses his bath out.
I would hope so. Does he rinse it with salt?
Just like a little hair stuck to the inside.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I can't see any hairs.
Maybe just on the bonnet. Let's have a look at his desk.
On the desk, you make out a variety of papers, notes, and maps, as well as sealed letters with a stamp you recognize as the mark of the Apperton Tinning Company. The desk itself is suspended with ropes to keep it safely in place. Oh yeah, ropes.
Tinning. A painting.
A classical painting depicting sailors doing battle with a kraken.
Hooray!
An ode to an old folk story of the great Captain Seamus's dance with the Salt Kings.
Captain Seamus.
Captain Seamus, what else have we got? There's another metronome.
What's that on the rug, that icon?
Ah, that's just take requests.
Oh.
That's to advance. To midday of week 1. Why don't you do the narration?
You take a seat at the end of the room. The captain joins you.
Now, let's run through our provisions before taking requests. To start, there's 20 free souls assigned onto this expedition, ourselves included. So this is our crew. That's 16 free to be assigned to tasks, if they aren't already busy. The rest are deployed to their permanent stations. You're only able to deploy crew who you've discovered. They must be in good health and not otherwise deployed. So we have to discover the crew to get them on the manifest so we can assign them to tasks, which we'll do in the first couple of weeks. It shouldn't take long to get all of them available. And they also have to be like healthy, so not injured or wounded or having scurvy or anything like that. And not already deployed. We will pick out the scouting crew at next port. This lot also seems to be in good spirits. So this is morale, or decorum, which we have to keep not full, but we want it above 0. If it hits 0 and the week ends, we'll lose the game. We have enough provisions for at least 6 months in case of emergency. Same with food. We need enough food to keep the crew from getting malnourished. Unless cured, malnourished will become scurvy. And then if you can't cure scurvy, then it'll kill whoever's got scurvy at the end of a week. So we want to keep food, again, above 0, high enough that we can feed the crew. There are effects that get rid of malnourished and scurvy, but they're quite limited. And more than enough fuel to see us there and back again. Same with this. Cold temperatures will need more fuel to keep people from getting cold and freezing. And obviously if freezing develops, it'll become frostbite, which can, again, kill the crew. But like I said, there's ways to get rid of it. It's just quite limited. So you kind of have to manage these 3 resources. But I'm happy to do that, so you don't have to. The sledding dog as well, there's still a matter of negotiation. So once we get onto the ice, we need to send out sledding teams to gather resources like food and research. And we need dogs to do that, so the dogs are a resource as well. We haven't got the dogs yet. Now, on to work. Who should we talk to? We've got Corvid or Cordell.
Oh.
You've got your little cast list so you know who your voice.
Oh, so let's do Corvid. He's first.
A sailor enters. That's you.
Found a stowaway in the lower hold.
Bring them in. Another sailor enters, leading a young man by their side. You know, you're not the first stowaway I've had. This is Runt and Runster. The captain studies them further. You know where we're heading, don't you?
I do, sir. The ice.
Did you know that before you climbed inside that crate?
I did, sir.
Huh. How old are you? You're hardly a useful pair of hands.
Not true. I can pull my weight, sir.
Do you know your jibboom from your bowsprit?
I do. Learned it all from my da.
Your Smith, it's me. It's Ward's son. Fallen on board back in the sea. What should we do with him, Captain? Well, Shaw. Hunt eyes you up. You're our first mate. What should we do with him? What do you think?
He's not staying on board.
Aye?
Drop them off at next stop. Leave them with enough money to catch a boat back to the city.
I didn't think it pertinent to bring any money to a frozen desert. Did you? Let's hope the boy's father has enough to keep them going. The 2 sailors drag the stowaway boy back below deck, taking him to see his father at the crew cabins. And what of the father? Should we drop him off with the boy?
It's his son. That's for him to decide.
Very well. Hopefully he doesn't care for the runt, and I'm not down a sailor. Well, that matter's sorted. Interesting. Got rid of the kid. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna be down 2 sailors. Cordell. Lady Cordell.
Have you agreed upon my conditions?
To the point, eh? Sure, this is Lady Cordell. Cordell here is to provide us with a kennel of hounds for the sleds. And our agreement was that she would train them up until we part ways at the nearest island. But...
You neglected to inform me that you were bringing my dogs through the Pale Passage. I had no intention of sending the pack to its death.
You seem to have good faith in this expedition.
It's one thing to ask for my whole kennel, it's another to drag them into the ice to chase a myth. Never before has a buyer been so dishonest.
And never before has a seller made such strong demands.
Lady Cordell. A moniker given to me by the locals of the city.
On account of her vernacular.
I find it odd that you seem to have researched me as much as you have my kennel.
I like to know who I'm negotiating with. Regardless, Shaw, she demands we allow her to come along on the expedition, as a member of the crew.
None on this ship have the experience and familiarity with these dogs that I possess. If you are taking them to such a brutal location, they will need me to guide them if they have any chance of survival. The humans on board too, of course.
Of course. You can see my dilemma, Shaw. Bringing on another member of the crew is a risk, but our hands may be tied. Your thoughts?
I don't see the harm in having an expert on the sled dogs.
A good point, Shaw. He turns to her. This deal is already to your benefit.
Do you have anyone on board with extensive training in the management and ruling of dogs? Your sleds are useless if you can't control the dogs efficiently enough to haul them. And I would like to ensure my dogs are treated properly. Welcome aboard, Cordell. Your knowledge should prove valuable. Invaluable.
I'll have a room prepared for you below deck.
No need. You'll find me in the forecastle with the dogs.
She leaves. I hope I'm not making a mistake, Shaw. There we go. We got our doggies. Requests. Now that's all settled, I've one more errand for you to run. Could you grab the Stoke brothers and order them to meet me up deck after dinner? Hefty lads, red hair. You couldn't mistake them for another.
An urgent matter?
Ah, not at all. Nothing you should concern yourself with. They'll be down on the middle deck. In the meantime, you should grab a copy of the crew manifest and get acquainted with more of the crew. Leave. Okay, so we've got the forecastle. Or join the figure balancing on the mast. Forecastle's where Lady Cordell's gone with the doggies.
Join the figure balancing on the mast.
Upon closer inspection, we make out the ship's photographer, Kasha Belford, balanced on the ship's mast with her camera, lining up a photo.
How's the view up there?
Startled her, causing her to fall and nearly drop her camera.
I'll help her down.
Just wait and let her do it. You help her retrieve the device and untangle herself from the rigging.
That was a close shave, Officer Shaw. It's about time I met the first officer of this ship. Kasha Belford. Yes, I've heard of you already. You have? Well, I'm not used to having any kind of reputation. I suppose there was some sort of rule against what I was doing up there. Deepest apologies, but sometimes there's a shot you just cannot pass up.
An accomplished photographer, Kasha Belford won the Fentler Prize, the highest honour in journalism, for her work covering plague outbreaks and riots in the capital. It came as a surprise to many that such a reputable journalist would take such an interest in this expedition. There was scarcely any chance of Hunt or the benefactor turning her away. You expected Simone of her accolades to be older, more experienced. This is likely her first time on the sea like this.
Her accomplishments surely outweigh her youth.
An experience is a matter of interest, but her accolades speak for themselves.
The cold game. Picture that as a header. What?
What?
For the piece on this voyage, I'm trying to come up with a snappy name. Nobody'll read it if the title sounds like the work of an amateur. I'm not the creative type. I'm sure you know better.
Kasha tilts her head and grits her teeth, holding an inner debate with herself.
Maybe not. How about Hunt's Incredible Voyage? Too fantastical? I suppose I'll find the right name when the time comes. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Apologies, I'm just a bit excited. I've never been on a voyage like this. I suppose it's in your experience. The open ocean is the home of the mundane. Though I suppose you've never travelled this far south on the merchant lines. You know who I am? Of course. I thoroughly researched the crew of the Temperance. May seem somewhat excessive, but I feel it's necessary for a proper chronicling. That and plenty of pictures. Don't worry, Shaw. You don't have a reputation that sets you apart from the rest.
Oh, they're perfectly boring.
A celebrity like Kurt Darling's presence will dwarf any rumours that could form around you. That reminds me. He'll be joining us in export. I should get his picture at some point.
Kasha holds up her camera with a sense of pride before holding it up to her face.
Stand still, Shaw.
Snap.
Please warn me before doing that. Oh, sorry. It's for the manifest Hunt wanted me to put together for you.
She hands you an annotated document.
Here it is, the crew manifest.
Here we go, the crew manifest. So, these are crew we've yet to discover, who we can find just by meeting, when I like exploring the ship. These are the crew we have discovered, so Killian Smith Sanders, Amelia Corbett Sparrow, and Joseph Joe Green. And we've got scouts, engineers, scientists, specialists, Captain Templeton, Kasha Belford, and then this is us, Robin Shaw. And we can't see our faces, so there's a couple other specialists to meet. And then we've got resource cards and key items, like the camera and an accordion.
It's a work in progress. The scout team are to join us at the next port, and the captain's forbidden me from the boiler room. If you could ask the others to get their portraits taken, I'll be very grateful. Don't want to leave anyone out. I'll see what I can do. I'll not disturb you with your work any further, officer. I have a few more shots I want to get before the sun lowers anyhow. Safe shots, officer. Don't worry.
You leave her to her work. Where to next? So we've got 2 Johns, forecastle, descent below decks, or escape from the captain's cabin.
Let's see 2 Johns. What's happening there?
2 Johns. He's put a large man with a youthful gait, carrying a heavy crate over his shoulder with relative ease. Oh, you're Officer Shaw. Do you want to narrate for this one?
He gives a bright, warming smile.
2 Johns. That's what they call me. I'm sure you'll get your nickname later.
2 Johns attempts to offer a handshake, but loses control of the crate. He struggles before firmly holding it in place with both hands.
Maybe later. Work awaits! There we go. So we've got 2 Johns added to the manifest. John.
John.
Where to?
Below deck?
Below deck. So this is there's the mid deck. So we've got, can I approach the accordionist or the cook?
The accordionist first.
You could have narrated this one.
One of the crew, a red-headed man with a thick beard, sits proud, playing on an ivory accordion. He spots you and ceases in his playing.
Need something.
Nice accordion. Do you mind if I see?
Accordion player takes a step back as you approach. You can see from there. No touching.
Who are you? The man grunts.
Grimly. I'm the ship's carpenter.
I was just looking for the Stoke brothers.
Emergency?
Could be, I'm not sure.
You're speaking to one of them. Grimly Stoke. We'll head up after dinner. You can go now.
The man gestures to the cook across the room before resuming his playing.
Cool. That's Grimly. That's his brother Junior.
So let's go to his brother.
We can't.
Oh.
We can only speak to one at a time.
Oh.
So now I think, I'm not sure if we can go back to the top deck and talk to anyone, or if we can just pass the time to call the crew for dinner. What do you want to do?
Go upstairs to find her. Let's go to the forecastle.
It's still locked. You can hear the kennel master preparing the room inside. Okay. Go and call the crew for dinner. The crew have their meal. It passes in relative silence. So that's usually the way a day will go is we'll assign tasks and then we'll call the meal, and that'll advance the day to the evening. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Twilight falls. Let's see these two. Over dinner, you overhear the stowaway speaking with a one-armed man. You'll be dropped off in next port then.
Di, you can talk the captain to let me stay, right?
Can't talk hunting anything when his mind's made up. Besides, he's right.
But I can help.
You're lucky he didn't throw you overboard. When we make land, we're making sure you catch a trip back home. I'll be back after this.
Not soon enough.
Oh, okay, so we've kept Runt's Dar aboard the ship, but Runt is not coming with us. So we're not on a sail, which is good. Okay, so that's our room, and then there's Mr. Gloss here we can speak to if we
Let's
want.
speak to Mr. Gloss. He looks shiny.
Mr. Gloss, one of the scientists. Do you want to do... I'll Mr. Gloss. I'll do Mr. Gloss if you want to narrate.
You spot one of Templeton's science team pacing around the middeck, searching through some luggage that has been pulled from a cabin.
Let me look in the light. Where was it now?
He notices you.
Ah, Officer Shaw, correct. Quite glossly. Apologies. I seem to have misplaced something while settling in the cabin. A bottle of wine, actually.
You best not be drinking on the job.
Oh, of course not. I have to keep the senses sharp in this work. My wife and I brought a bottle to celebrate with. To be saved for the journey back, of course. Well, if you find it, please let me know.
Dwight closely added to the manifest. Send above to... Do you want to go to your cabin?
Yes. Just make me chilly. Make me chilly.
Why?
Because it's cold.
It's not cold.
It's cold.
So that's the journal where we can just read what we've already written. So it's got like the poem for the beginning and then what we wrote on the first week. So we can kind of look back on what we've written.
Oh, so Shaw did write that poem then,
Yeah.
canonical.
I guess, yeah. Okay. Got someone... So usually, like, if you see something outlined in gold, that means it'll advance the story. It's kind of like you want to go to, like, if you see an exclamation mark that isn't outlined in gold, you want to go to that first. Or if you want to, anyway.
Let's go to that.
The ocean.
Oh.
You can narrate for this.
As you look over the railing out to the ocean, a wisp of smoke flies past your face. You turn to examine and spot a sailor with a pipe in his mouth and a sheet of paper in his hand, overlooking the stirring waters.
Looking at something. This is Tasha's.
Any spare tobacco?
I don't share. Tashi.
After introducing himself, Tashi falls silent and begins to read the letter. Trying to draw conversation from him may be similar to extracting teeth.
Then Sheridan. Tashi added to the manifest. Cool. I think that's it for the day. Talk to Templeton.
Yes.
You spot Templeton looking out into the sunset. As you approach, he turns to you and nods.
Officer Shaw. It will be some time before we see a sunset such as this again. The light distribution towards the southern pole is quite the change. I noticed you weren't at dinner with the others. I prefer to eat in solitude. I have my own cabin and I make use of it.
Templeton keeps his focus on the reflection of the setting sun over the stirring waters of the ocean.
There is great expectation upon us, officer. From who? Who is this benefactor of ours? That is not for you to know. Not yet.
Templeton looks down, catching his reflection in the ocean surface. He looks back up at the sunset.
Quite the sight. But I wouldn't linger upon it too long. We should retire for the evening. It's important the first officer be well rested.
There we go, and then we need to advance to the next week. So here's where we decide food rations for the crew. Oh yeah, we do. And you can see the effect there. So that's normal rations. We can do double rations, and that's the sort of thing that will improve morale and then cure malnourished. We can do half rations, so we lose less food, but we also lose some decorum. Or we can do no rations, where we lose, obviously no rations, but we lose a lot of decorum. So right now, it doesn't matter too much, other than that it's draining, it's like digging into our resources.
Yeah.
But technically this is the tutorial, so you can do it here and it won't really affect
so
anything.
we'll just
'cause-
test how it works.
yeah, same with fuel. If you drop enough fuel, right now it won't affect anything because the temperature's at a decent height. All it'll do is drop decorum, but if in the future when the temperature gets up here, when it gets really low, it can cause crew members to freeze. So really it's up to you what you want to do, because all we'd lose is decorum.
What do you think would be
Well,
best?
I usually do the first 2 weeks giving them nothing.
Oh my god.
And then get the decorum back up, but then that's just me. I don't mind,
That
because we
is
can
mean.
get the food back. We can get it all back
Yeah.
relatively easily.
Let's be nice at the
Just be
beginning.
normal.
Let's keep around.
And then we can get it back up at a later date. Runt leaves the expedition at Orca Island. The ship makes its last port at Orca Island. Cordell's sledding dogs are picked up. The scouting crew and Kurt Darling are picked up. The days are getting brighter as you move further south. So you can see we've got more daylight now. Start the next week. Week 2. 2 weeks on the Temperance. Do you want to narrate for this?
There's a rap on your cabin door. Come in. The door swings open to reveal Kurt Darling, all but filling its frame, grinning ear to ear.
There you are! Officer Shaw!
The ship's navigator is a difficult man to miss. Stature and reputation precede him. Adorned with a slew of apparatus, this seemingly one-man expedition would be known to anyone following the heyday of exploration, and the merchandising that followed.
He's a celebrity.
It's an honour, really. A wealth of invaluable experience in such hostile environments. A wonder he's not been swept up to some other post.
Hiding away from the rest of us, are you?
Do you need something of me, Kurt?
I'm not the sort to demand favours, Officer Shaw. Apologies for not stopping by sooner, Shaw. It took a while to set up my team, and a great deal of the crew were eager to meet me.
It's not often they work with a film star, is it?
Certainly. It's completely understandable on their part. There aren't many who've seen my films, particularly in this line of work. More than one fellow in this crew said my work inspired them to explore the world. Quite the honour, is it not?
This crew don't seem the film-going type.
Well, yes. Most were born on the sea to begin with, but it is good to know even those old films can inspire. I suppose I did get distracted, didn't I? Anyway, I was hoping you'd join me up deck.
Does Hunt require my presence?
No. We've finally entered the pack. I thought you'd want to see it for yourself. The ice pack.
I'll be right behind you, Kurt. Kurt turns to walk away before turning back.
Oh, and enjoy your morning. It's a good day, sure. Ha!
He leaves.
So, again, we've got a few more things to interact with. I'm not sure if there's anything. Mrs. Gloss, this is... You note one of the science team returning to their room.
Ah, Mrs. Gloss. Did you have a good rest?
She nods to you.
Hello. I did not expect many to be up this early. Harriet Glossley. I believe I've met your husband. Yes. Dwight made mention of your encounter. He's still fast asleep. He's adjusted to the ship well. I believed a walk around the ship would help acclimate myself to the waves. Perhaps it will take some more time.
With that, Mrs. Gloss makes her way back to her cabin.
A science team aren't used to the sea, or the sailor folk. Quite the culture clash, isn't it? Well, I'm sure they'll grow used to them over time. Ha!
Harriet Glossy added to the manifest. Where to now? The door to the doctor's office remains locked.
Seems the good doctor isn't in. Or perhaps enjoying his sleep.
You're yet to come across the ship's doctor, even after all this time. What do you want to see? We're on the ice.
I want to eat it.
You can't eat it. It's ice. Cool if you zoom in, the sails go over. Gonna talk to this guy.
Yeah.
This is Lefty. This is one of your guys. At the stern, you notice an older sailor at the helm. The old man takes in a deep breath in the cold air before letting out a satisfied exhale.
Morning.
And a good morning to you.
He eyes you up.
Officer Shaw, right? Lefty. Call me that on account of, well, should be obvious.
He's only got one eye. He chuckles.
Don't worry about the bad sight. This is all feel. Just keeping us steady.
He examines you.
Surprised Hunt picked from outside for his first mate. I'm surprised as well. He seems the insular type. He is. You must be something special for Hunt to look outside the ranks. You've got the experience at least. Merchant Navy's quieter though. Mornings like these are about the only peace I get from the younger lot. You should take these moments when you can.
If he returns his attention to the helm.
As you get older, I suppose, you learn to value the quiet moments, eh? Let us hope we're just as diligent when we're old and grey. Myself before you, of course.
Here we go. Harold Turner, added to the manifest.
Shall we go up to the front?
And speak to Kurt.
Cat.
Kurt. You can do the narration first.
You join Kurt at the bow of the ship. You both feel the Temperance break the floes below you. Gripping the railing, he draws an enormous breath. The footing beneath rises as the ship mounts an impending ice floe. There is a moment hesitation before a profound crack relieves the ship, cascading across the ice. He exhales.
See, nothing else like it.
It's just ice, Kurt. Don't get too excited. There's going to be plenty more where it came from.
There's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be.
Then you're in the right place. I assumed you'd seen everything.
Younger me would have agreed with you. It's an interesting mix, nostalgia and the never-ending new. Look at the ice. No two cracks are the same.
All caused by us.
By the laws of nature, this place once is dead. And yet, here we are, traversing in harmony. How fantastic is that?
So what's this about?
We're about a week's sail from the last known location of the old Viscount. Assuming she isn't exactly where they left her, we can't take smooth sailing for granted. Same goes for this daylight. It won't remain this bright for so long once winter encroaches. Beautiful as the ice is, on this course it's going to get thicker.
He looks out across the white.
We won't be so confident when the leads dry up and we're stuck there till the next cycle. We need to change course. Avoid the pack.
Have you informed Captain Hunt?
He won't listen to me. Fingers have been dulled by retirement. I've probably seen more ice than he has whiskey.
It's not my decision.
Yes, but you have the captain's ear. Have you ever experienced a long night winter? It's not pleasant, to say the least.
If it comes to that, we'll adapt.
I can see why he hired you. You should understand, Robin. We're only as good as the unhappiest man.
I'll do what I can. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Kurt nods and turns back to look across the ice.
Cool. Not sure if there's anything below deck we miss. I mean, we can always, like, zoom down, and if there's nothing, zoom back up. If you want.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at each. Just look at the hammocks.
We poke them on.
Still fast asleep laying in their hammocks.
Wake
The
up.
sounds of snoring are rather obnoxious.
Wake up.
Get up, you bullshits. Captain's cabin. Take requests.
Ah, sure. Ready for another day of work?
Did you hear Kurt's advice? He wants us to switch course.
Aye, he had a few words to share. He may have been an expert in his time, but these days Kurt is one with more money than sense. Anyway, back to work. I was hoping you'd help me work for a few more requests from the crew. You may have noticed the line pooling up outside. Everyone wants something, it seems. Call them in as you please. Okay, so we've got Hammond, Kasha, and Corbett.
Let's go through the ball in order.
Hammond?
Yeah.
So Hammond is me. And do you want to interact with this one?
A short, sour-faced man in engineer clothing approaches.
Are you acting daft, Hunt? Not with intention. Not bloody surprised you didn't notice. Sure, this is our chief engineer, Clive Hammond. An opinionated one. What is it, Hammond? Oh, we've hit the ice, and you haven't assigned any extra men down on the boiler. You have your engineering team, and we've only got 6 arms between us. I need more manpower maintaining this. Sailors! Many of the crew have their own tasks they're busy with. I know I've already signed Smurf on a matter.
The captain turns to you.
How many do you think is fair? 1, 3, more?
So, this is how you assign crew to different jobs.
Okay.
So, sometimes a job will come up and it'll show how many crew you can assign. So,
So he's wanting...
1 to 4, so you can assign up to 4 crewmen. 1 to 4, so you don't have to assign all 4, but you can if you want to. Obviously, the more you assign, the more efficient a task will be. And so we've got the people currently in the rota. We've got 2 Johns, Tashi, Lefty, Runstar, Corvid, and Joe. We still haven't discovered these 3, but we will in time. So who should we assign? How many should we assign?
should we say 3?
3? Who do you want?
Let's assign 2 Johns.
2 Johns.
Let's assign...
Tashi, Runstar, Lefty, Corvid, and Joe.
Let's learn Corvin?
Yep.
Yeah, let's put her there.
And
And Tashi.
Tashi. Just the 3, yep.
Yeah. You can take Tashi, 2 Johns, and Corvid.
Surely that's a generous amount. We'll see about that. Let us hope. Don't spare any more, I'm afraid.
The engineer holds his tongue.
Fine.
He leaves.
A good spirit, that one, beneath the oil and the temper. You won't be seeing much of him, though. Prefers to burrow himself into the boiler room. Kasha? Cool.
Captain, sure. A thought occurred to me the other day while looking through the crew manifest, and, well, it might be too late for this now that we've already entered the ice.
Out with it.
I thought it would be good to have individual photos of the full crew.
For your report?
Not only my report, it would be good reference for the manifest. Put faces to the names.
Much of this crew have served me for years. Some decades. I have little problem putting faces to the names. Your thoughts, Shaw?
It's a bit late, but it's now or never. May as well get it over with.
Aye, a good point. But maybe you could sound a little more enthused. Well, Belford, I see no problem there. I'll arrange for the pictures to be taken before the crew have their dinner.
Thank you, Captain. Sure. In the meantime, I'll attempt to get as many individual crew photos as I can. You're still welcome to help on that matter, Officer Shaw.
She departs, satisfied. Corvid and you.
Captain, word's gotten round about the stowaway we removed last week.
It has.
Aye.
And their thoughts?
They aren't one bit happy, least of all is Dar. He says it wasn't right to send the boy away. Only reason Ward stayed aboard was because he needed the pay.
Up in arms, are they?
No, they understand. Spares more food for the rest of us.
Still, not a wise to move to upset my crew, is it? Sure, perhaps we should consider the crew's feelings next time. She leaves. So there are consequences to our actions. We could
No,
funk it,
my
so
actions have consequences.
it wasn't so much kicking the kid off as it was kicking the kid off without his dad. Who was
Well,
staying
it's
because of the
Dad's decision to stay.
Because he needed to pay.
Well,
Good to have all that settled then. Perhaps we shouldn't rule out old Kurt so easily. If the man thinks there could be an alternative path through the ice, he's free to search for it. Sure, meet with him when you have time. Changing course or not, we'll want one of his scouts set up in the crow's nest. Take care of that, and you'll be done for the day. So we've got a few things. We can go ascend below deck, speak to the navigator, look up in the rigging, approach the sick young
shall we approach the sick young man
Yes.
from a responsible
He is
5 foot
seasick.
distance?
You can narrate for this.
You spot a youthful-looking man leaning over the side of the ship, his head slumped as he looks into the icy pool below. It appears he's been visited by a spot of seasickness. You okay? You speak out, and the sickly man doesn't answer. He raises his head and turns to spot you, his eyes widening in shock as he does. A bespectacled young man, shaking with unease. He stares at you for a brief moment, a look of shame plastered upon his face.
Sorry.
I haven't seen you around. Who are you?
I'm very sorry.
Arthur turns around and hurriedly runs in the opposite direction, avoiding your gaze.
He didn't tell us who he was. Arthur Nutley, added to the manifest. So, where to? There's the rigging, descend below deck. I think speaking to Kurt is like, this ends the day maybe. I can't remember. Where to?
The rigging.
While examining the rigging of the ship, your eyes notice a figure darting by, climbing on the ropes with ease. The figure lands on their feet before dusting themselves off. Their outfit denotes one of Kurt's scouting crew. This is Flick, which is new.
Aye, no problems.
She looks to you.
And you are? I'm the first mate. You should address me as such.
Oh, you're a stickler.
Sure. Flick, I'm one of Kurt's crew. Don't worry about my safety, I know what I'm doing, trust me. Kurt doesn't just hire anyone. Well, he didn't hire me for no reason. Got the medals in gymnastics if you're worried about my credentials.
Flick jumps up and returns to scaling the rigging of the ship. Soren Killipper. Flick. Shall we go down?
Yeah.
Can listen in on these two.
Yeah.
You overhear two of the newly arrived scouting crew talking. So this is Yorick III and Quilsley. I've got you as Quilsley, and I'll do Yorick III. Ah, Quilsey! Have any trouble setting in?
Not too bad. Can't wait for a chance to sleep, though.
A proper navigator never rests until their work is done.
Of course. I take it you had no issue settling in?
Not at all. The crew are a funny lot. Oh, Kurt certainly caught their attention. Do you think any of them would mistake Kurt and myself?
I think you'd collapse from joy if they did.
Ah, perhaps. Yorick III. Yorick Moore and Hadrian Quill added to the manifest. Sent to the data. This is as far down as we can go. So we've got pumps, pantry, a hooded sailor, or approach the cook.
Hooded sailor.
This is gnomes. You spot a suspicious-looking sailor emerge from the pantry. This is you. The hooded sailor spots you, keeping their hands firmly in their pockets.
Not what it looks like, Officer Shaw. Plech. Call
Plek.
me gnomes.
His name is Plek.
Plek, but call me gnomes. I'm not thieving anything. I hadn't considered that, but now... I think I protest too much then. No worries. I was just setting up a practical joke. And what is this practical joke? Not going to spoil the surprise. It's not at your expense if that's your concern. Have to get some enjoyment around here, don't you think?
With the mysterious trap set, Gnomes scurries off to the upper decks to return to work. Skylar Plek added to the manifest. Where do you want to go?
Can we talk to the
Cook. This is Junior Stoke. Junior Stoke.
Oh, you must be sure. Seems you've met my brother already. You're in Stoke, but nobody calls me that. On this ship, I'm known as Junior. I take it you're the cook then? Aye, and a damn good one at that. You sure? Can you grab some tins from the pantry? It's only time for dinner.
So this is, go to the pantry. The moment you enter the pantry, a bag of flour drops in your head, scattering all over your officer's uniform.
The hells was that? Gnomes?
You wipe the flour off you before continuing. So this is where we can get food, like tinned food. So we have a crate of tinned food. So this would be in our resource card. So you can see it adds, if we put it in the furnace, it adds +3, and if we put it in the hoosh pot, it's +20 food.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. Cool. Now we don't need to do that, because if we add the food to the hoosh pot, that'll end the day. Actually, no, it won't. Hold on. So you speak to him.
Got anything for the hoosh?
And then we feed the hoosh pot, we add in the tins, feed the hoosh, and then that's gone back up to 72. So that's how we get more food. In here is the pumps. This we don't need just yet. This is in case there's any out. Back up to the top deck. And we can speak to Kurt.
Send me up there. I'll get you a reading.
Scientist eyes the man's cane and turns to you.
I believe the navigator means to send you one of his scouts.
The navigator clears his throat and taps his cane.
Of course. If you find one of mine, they'll get us a reading rightly.
So then we assign one of the scouts. So we've got Quilsey, Yorick the Third, or Flick.
Let's send Flick. Small Flick.
The gymnast. They ascend the nest and take a reading with the sextant.
All clear from up top.
And then now we can see the actual map. So this is Orca Island, the last port you made, where you picked up Kurt and the scouting team from. And Viscount Island, the last known location of the Viscount, your destination. We've just got to get through this ice to get to this island, which is the last place they saw the ship we're looking for. Cool. With that, I think we can go down in pastime. Call the crew for dinner.
Dinner time.
The crew have their meal.
Ha! Shall we toast to the ice? Aye. The days get longer, but dinner is fixed. It will see us through the long days and the darkest nights.
The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. You can't help but notice that it's still bright light outside. So we can overlook here these two.
Yes.
This is, you notice two sailors passing by from the dinner table. An inebriated sailor on wobbling legs leaning on the shoulder of another. Tucker, that's me.
Good times. Good times.
And then sober sailor, that's you, that's Cavity.
Need to learn to handle your drink, Tucker.
But I'm fine. My mates can carry me, eh, Cavity?
They can also drop you. Have two Johns carry you next time. Are you asleep? Shit.
Go up. Tucker and Cavity added to the manifest. This door we can try and unlock. You knock on the door. No response.
Knock on that one.
That's our cabin. Wanna try this door again? You knock on the door. Still no response. You can hear the sounds of rustling inside.
Knock again.
After knocking on the door several times, it finally swings open to reveal one of Templeton's science team.
Yes. Do you require my presence?
Apologies, just checking.
Just checking. You should know I'm the meteorologist of this expedition, Andre Isaac. If I'm not required for anything, I would ask not to be disturbed any further. That's Mr. Zach, one of the science team.
And you can listen in.
Yes.
You overhear two engineers chatting above deck. Or rather, you overhear one engineer speaking with another. Grips, that's... You can do grips. That's one of the engineering team.
Don't know how the chief could stay down there all evening. You don't ever see Mr. Hammond eat?
Yeah.
I haven't. Maybe he doesn't even eat. Man's not human if he can work all day and night on that boiler. Probably doesn't sleep either.
He probably sleeps.
I dig it's figurative.
Right. There we go. That's the engineering team. And we can head into the forecastle to speak to Lady Cordell. The dogs regard her with rapt attention as she paces between them, bowl in hand. The largest joins her side as you approach.
Try some. I will.
Try the soup. You nearly burn your mouth on the hot broth.
Surprisingly tasty.
Surprisingly palatable. You feel yourself warming up?
You seem to enjoy it. I'm afraid there is only so much. If you want more, it would be among the dog's leftovers. Penguin, some blubber, fats and proteins. Fastest way to hydrate them. Was there something you needed? Just inspecting the animals. They belong here more than we do. Unlike us, they need the ice. It cools them through their pores as they run. They'd overheat otherwise. You've been on the ice for a long time? A long time, yes. Who's that beside you? This is Stanbury.
Bark. What?
Strong animal. Very. They handle stress differently. Adapt quickly. There's plenty to be learned from them. You love these animals. They need me. And you'll need them. Pet Stanbury.
You ruffle its head. It tries to lick the broth from your fingers. And I think that's everything, so we can skip to the next week. What do you want to explore?
Skip to the next week. Is that a good place to call it a day for
If
the
you want,
first
that'll be
session?
gone very long. Let's see. Okay, so because we've used fuel, we don't have enough for the second week. So it has to drop to half rations and we lose some decorum. But we added food into the hoosh pot, so we have enough for the second week. But yeah. Confirm rations. So we get minus 20 of fuel, minus 56 food, minus 10 decorum. Another week passes, the Temperance has finally entered the thick ice leads. The days grow ever brighter. You want to end it there? Okay, dokie.
And that's where our first recording ended. Be sure to check back and watch our next video to see what happened next.
And if we die. We don't, not yet. But maybe.
Goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye.